Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. How's everyone going? If you could let me know how my voice is against the music. I just checked and I think my last stream there was no music there, which is annoying. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah. Hello Spearchuck, hello WDS, welcome. Okay, so last time where you saw me, I finished retopologizing the hair, and I took it a bit further off stream and just did the same for the eyebrows and these little bits. And if you're new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, I've been going through this model that I'm pretty much happy with, and I've been retopologizing Zelda inside ZBrush, which is a really cool new tool. Beautiful, it's good, thank you. Hey Layla, sounds good to me. Awesome, thank you. So music not too loud, I'm not too loud, good. So I reckon we'll continue working on this part, which is her front panel of the dress, but it also has all of these bits and bobs. Yeah, I should have grouped them all. One day I'll be more organized, I promise. Yeah, we'll just turn all of them on.
Well, stick around. We're just warming up, baby.
There's also a skirt underneath, but we'll retopo it separately. Yeah, I think that's it for this part. So, how would you go about it? So I already started, but I'll show you. And we kinda, yeah, we have everything turned off except for this part that we wanna retopologize. So we just go B-R-E, E for retopo, so you can see it to my right. We switch to it, nothing happens yet. Give it a second, it's got 2.7 million polygons or vertices. So now we'll see this menu here, and that means the brush is selected. And we just need to click on it once, and this menu will pop up that you can't see because I'm capturing the ZBrush window. But there will be a menu asking you if you want to retopologize it, and you click yes. Okay. Now everything turns gray, sort of like this semi-transparent color. And if we turn off this retopo mesh, we can now start placing points. These points can be then turned into polygons. Neat, right? Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I'll delete this one, turn on what I've already done, which is not a lot, but we're getting there. Also not sure what I'm gonna do about these ones. They kind of float in space. Let me load my ref board and see what her dress looks like there. How are you guys going? Are you working on anything while watching me sculpt? Okay, so I think these things are attached to the front panel with chains of some sort. Yeah, they look like chains. I don't think I've ever modeled them, but I'll do it after. So we can just keep on going. So we place enough points to sort of make an outline of a rectangle, and then we press spacebar, and now we can like select of where we want to place this rectangle. There are a couple of options, as you can see, but sometimes you need to move your camera around and just click with the left click to confirm. Now, this is a bit annoying because when I try to move this point, it's grabbing this whole area, and it's because if you can see this red circle around it, that's how much area we're currently affecting. So if you'd like to reduce it, you could simply just hold down S and drop down the draw size, and now we'll only be affecting that area. But it's not really nice because when you try to fill out this polygon, the radius is not big enough for ZBrush to understand what you want to do, so it's going to give you these weird triangles. And you have to adjust it again and do... oh, wait. Yeah, like this. So, as an alternative, you could always go to... so my chat is in the way. You could always go to brush. Let me turn off chat for a second. Brush Retopology. And now you can disable move by draw size. So now it will not affect it. So you can keep it big, but come on. Doesn't want to. But when you move it, it will only affect the point that you're trying to move. Yep, watching you retopo while I retopo for the first time. Awesome. Are you doing it in ZBrush or somewhere else? No wrong answers here. Yep, we're doing some of the hair on my character at the moment. I see. Is that Zelda as well, perchance? This version of ZBrush is working fine now. Mine keeps crashing. We had a couple of crashes last stream, yes. I just learned to save. We'll see how this goes. It's pretty normal for new releases to do that. Usually gets like fixed within like the first couple of weeks. So far so good, but we will keep on saving. This is a good reminder. Let me do that real quick. Howdy! I love ZBrush. Me too. Probability is high. It's never zero. That's for sure. So another thing I discovered was that if you place, let's say, points where you need... okay, it's easier to show somewhere here. So you've been placing points and mapping out where you want your topology to go, and you don't want to do them one by one. You could always hold down space bar and click with the left click, and then just drag it out like so. You don't need to click on each one individually. You can just fill them up. It's really neat. Now another thing you could do, would hold down, wait, Alt, and that drags out a single poly from an edge. But if you let go of Alt and then press it again, you'll see what happens. It will then go to the nearest like edge loop. But then if you let go again and hold down Alt, what it will do, it will extrude out the entire border that it can reach, I think. So yeah, pretty awesome. For now, I just need one edge loop. And if this ever happens, it accidentally snapped to the wrong thing, worry not, just Alt and click on it to delete it. And ta-da! Also, if you find that these colors are messing with your brain and it's hard to see, you can always Control-Shift and click on this little icon that's kind of like a paintbrush. And now everything turns gray. If you want to bring the colors back, Control-Shift-Click on the paintbrush again. And they're back. I find that sometimes it's easier to work with this material without colors. We can also switch to a different material. So like base material, for instance, I like skin shade. So I think I'll stay in that one. Why are you topologizing? It's part of the process of creating a video game or an animation character. The only time you wouldn't retopologize would be maybe for 3D printing, or maybe some sort of like prototype or concept art, but I want to make a video game character for this one, so that's why. Also, if you don't like where your edge is placed, you can literally cross it out by holding down Alt and dragging. So kind of like you exit, and then you can always bring it back. Wait. By holding down spacebar, you can drag and drop an edge loop. If I'm slow at times today, it's because it's morning and I'm not a morning person. Just for those who don't know me. Why did I choose to stream in the mornings? Don't know. I guess it feels more productive that way. But yeah, it's gonna be a very chill stream. We'll go through hopefully the whole panel if I'm speedy. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about what I'm doing or what what combinations I'm doing on my keyboard, let me know. That's a lot of weird stuff. Even pointing on super simple 4 points, it still struggles to detect correct 4 points to create a quad. Not really. Maya does that too. I never really have problem unless you have a very small brush like this, then yeah, it will struggle. No, but as soon as you set it high, there you go. Something feels wonky. That's because I haven't woken up yet and I keep on messing up my keybinds because I was a Maya user before, still am for work, but I used to retopologize in Maya. Now I don't do it there anymore, so my brain needs time to switch and only use ZBrush hotkeys. Hello, good morning. Hello, Omega. Welcome. Can you control offset, snap distance on which it places points on source mesh? Offset, as in like how close the point will get to the another point without snapping? Is that what you mean? Or maybe. Maybe you mean the depth. We can try this one. Doesn't look like it. Perhaps there's a way. I just haven't used it. I usually would just get my transpose tool and I would control inflate if I need to inflate it, and it lifts it off the surface. But maybe there's a way. I'll research that after the stream. Coffee does wonders. I already had my coffee. It's a matter of me getting used to waking up at 5:30 a.m. that I'm still struggling with. Because here in Queensland, it's impossible to sleep past 5:30 a.m. Unless you maybe have some white noise and you're sleeping at headphones or I don't know. Everyone's awake by around like 6 a.m. So you gotta be too. Now, distance of created points polys from the surface needed for hard surface objects and curved plate surfaces when you need to offset points so they don't sink in. Yeah, I'll research that. I thought the depth modifier would do it, but it didn't seem to do that. Yeah. There are some settings here, but I don't think that's one of them. You can also smooth out the mesh if you don't want it to kind of like all collapse on itself. You can go to brush and alternate to smooth. And now the borders will stay locked in place and you can kind of smooth out the middle section. But I usually do that after I've placed down all of my points and I'm happy with their placement, because for now it's pointless. Because I can redo certain parts a couple of times when I'm not happy with them. Okay, so we've reached this point where I need this to have an extra edge, but I don't want to place it all the way there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna quickly switch to ZModeler. Now I'm gonna do a split. Nope. A slice. Where is it? Slice mesh. There it is. Slice mesh, edge, and disable. You can't see it because of me. Let me try to do it here. Yeah. Slice mesh, edge, crease edges. Do not crease edges because I don't need them creased. So I'll just... Come on. Yeah. Placed it there. Not quite what I needed. Interesting. Doesn't want to do it. Let's do mirror, mirror and weld. Delete. I could also do it with my Retopology brush. There you go. That's what I wanted. And that's the beauty of having Retopology brush inside ZBrush, because you now have extra help from ZModeler if you need it. And I turn to it quite often. No. In this case, I'll just do this. Fell into oblivion. As you go, you could also plan ahead and polygroup the parts that you would later want to be separate UV shells. And there's an easy way to do that. If you quickly switch to Z Modeler brush BZM, you could hold down Alt and paint a polygroup as you're retopologizing. So I might want to cut this out. So instead of later on selecting all the edges that go around it, this took me, what, like 5 seconds. And I can do that with the rest of it as well. Obviously, we don't want to go crazy. Also accidentally switched. Don't want to go crazy on how many UV islands we will create, but there was a weird hole here, so to fix that, I'm just gonna delete a single polygon. Can't access it. Interesting. It's because it's flipped. That's why. Let's go back to Retopo. Something's not right. Okay, so it is working. It's just doesn't want to connect here. Okay. Give me a second while I fix this. Might be because this thing is in the way. Yeah. So we'll leave that one separate for now. Then I'll decide what I want to do with it. That is early. I'm a morning person, but that is very early. I know. So long as I get a total gym workout, I can function either or. That's good. I never got into any of these Zelda, Minecraft, Mario, Pokemon games. Might have to try one day to see what is the hype about. For me, it's the world building. You know how you sometimes play like open world RPGs and all the characters are so flat, uninteresting, no personalities, and all the quests feel like fetch quests? Zelda does a really good job at making it not feel that way. A lot of quests feel very heartfelt, and there are stories that you care about, and the lore is pretty interesting about like different tribes of people, or humanoids should I say. There's like a fish tribe, a bird tribe, like rock people tribe. But it could also be part nostalgia for some people because they grew up with those games. I didn't. I got into Zelda in my 20s, which was about 5 years ago, and loved it. Even though I started with Breath of the Wild, I then went on to play other games, which were amazing as well. So yeah, I'm not sure what's causing it, but sometimes ZBrush will flip faces. I'll need to investigate that, because it is annoying. Go. So don't forget to save. Thank you for the tips. All good. You're welcome. The Retopology brush seems so fun, can't wait to try it out. It is. I encourage you all to try it out for yourself. The biggest selling point for me is that now I can retopo everything in ZBrush and keep my low polys here in one folder and high polys in the other. And it's all inside one file, right? Interesting. Sometimes it is hard to like grab the points that you need. I can admit that. Okay. I think it's a matter of getting used to though. Okay. Also, if you have a big screen to work on, I would recommend you use that. This bar does occupy a bit of real estate, so it makes your screen slightly bit smaller. So if you're already working on, let's say, like a Huion or Wacom tablet that's 16-inch, that might be a bit too small for it. But that was always my take on small screens plus ZBrush. I used to have a Wacom 16-inch and then I sold it because my UI wouldn't fit very well. That's what I call struggling with detecting correct points. Can you manually select 3/4 points you need? In Max and Code, you can Shift Alt hover over needed words to help it detect correct ones. Right. No, I've never used Max or Code for Retopology. I've only used Maya. In my experience, so you see, you're hovering over that area, so it's picking those. The way I control it is by controlling the draw size. One's also stuck. Also, I'm very green with this. Okay. It's my second time using it. Well, third. So in this case, I guess I would just extrude out the edge instead of struggling with the polygon. Which is what I prefer to use in Maya as well. Instead of placing points, I do this. And when I can, I extrude out the whole loop. But yeah, something to get used to. There you go. There you go. This mesh is also pretty tricky. It's got so many 90-degree angles. That means I'll need to do a lot of UV seam cutting and hard edge setting. But I knew what I was signing up for when I was modeling this. So that's on me. Huh. What if I go to geometry and fix mesh? No, it won't get rid of those. Yeah, so for some reason, sometimes ZBrush places inverted polys. Not quite sure what's causing it yet. Might be my mistake. Luckily, it's easy enough to fix. You could always set double to a hotkey, and I can show you how to do that. So if you, I believe, go to preferences, and maybe you don't even need to turn that on. Control-Alt-click on double, and as you can see at the top, ZBrush will now say, press any combination to assign custom hotkey or press escape or mouse button to cancel. Press delete key to remove previous custom assignment. So we could set it to, I don't know, 1. And it's gonna say, oh, 1 is already set to something, but I don't use 1 at all. So it's fine. So now every time I turn on, I click on 1, it will do the thing. Pretty useful. I think the rest is fine. Let's keep going. No. My brain will learn all the hotkeys eventually. I started learning DaVinci Resolve the other day for work. My brain was so agitated because it was a new software with its own hotkeys. But the overall experience was fun, very intuitive. I was also trying to figure out all the hotkeys without Googling a single thing, so that's also on me. Did you work on Legend of Zelda? Oh, I wish. That's something on the bucket list. And also, no, I would either need to speak Japanese or live in States and work for Nintendo. Neither of those applies to me. I've never lived in States or Japan. It's really hard to acquire a work visa in Japan. So the lucky few who have either speak Japanese very well and they can work for big clients like Nintendo, and they can also handle the work pressure that comes with it, because if you don't know, Japan has a big problem with like toxic work culture. No, I have not worked on Zelda. Would I have still done it? Even knowing about the whole work culture thing? Probably yes. Because Legend of Zelda is among one of my favorite games of all time. And I've played quite a few, okay. This one is totally on me, because this mesh is floating. I did not prepare it well for Retopology, so let's fix that real quick. Let's turn off the transparent view. Go in here, zero it out, mask that one, and let's rotate it so it's flush or somewhat flush against the thing. Let's do the same process for this one. It's actually better, it's touching the panel, so it's not gonna cause any issues, I don't think. Let's retopo again. I did find the method of getting all the pieces that you want to be together, merging them down, and either doing Dynamesh or Remesh by Union, which is in here. You click on this cog and you remesh by union. Both of them stitch all the parts together, and then it's much easier, in my opinion, to work, because the points will never like disappear into the void. In this case, I'm dragging out this one and then converting it into a triangle for now. I don't think I'll individually retopologize all of these, so I might just create like an extrusion. I'll try to do that with, yeah, this method. This is not quite where it needs to be, but I think we can fix that later in ZModeler. So let's activate our symmetry again. And all of those things that I'm not quite happy with, I'll fix later. What we need to do now is create the base topology. I'm not even sure if it needs all of this, to be honest. I might even... like, it doesn't contribute to the silhouette that much. Yeah, we'll see. This issue again. Okay, fixed it. Now we have this connection to make. There you go, collapse them, fill this one. And if you ever want to look at your Retopology by itself, you can go to solo mode. And I can see what's going on here. I have a sneaking suspicion that has to do with working in symmetry. When you move the line to the bottom of the poly, does it make a supporting line or merge delete the line? I think it merges, if I understand the question correctly. So if I were to move this line down, it kind of snaps it and it deletes the line, deletes the edge, because it merges them. If you don't want them to be merged at all, you either place it like really close and now it's a supporting line, supporting edge, loop, whatever you want to call it. If you don't want to have snapping at all, you can go to brush and there'll be snap threshold. So if I set it to 0, and I want to snap these 2 points together, no matter how close I get to it, it doesn't snap. If I turn it back on again, it snaps. Now it's 1. Interesting. Also, if you've added a bunch of points and now you're like, I want to clear them, Control drag on the canvas and you're done. Also, what is going on here? Doing mirror and weld every now and again could help, I think. And it fixed that symmetry issue for us. Almost did. There you go. How many points? 424. Not too bad. This is me going all out, by the way. You could have easily just retopologized this piece as like a flat panel and then baked everything on top. That would have been the cheapest way to do it. I want more details. That this piece, if we were to see it in a cutscene in the game and we would like get very close to Zelda's chest area for whatever reason, we would see the silhouette nicer. Yeah, a more detailed silhouette, that's what I mean. That's really neat. Thank you. When I screen record my work, 99% of the time of it is rotating and panning around instead of actually getting some work done. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Thanks, it looks like a pretty decent Retopo toolset. You already showed a lot of commands, but what about manual cutting complex topologies? Can I freehand cut with N-gons like Max Maya? No, so I believe ZBrush does not do well with N-gons. That being said, you can still cut it, and there are many ways to do that in ZBrush. Let me save. If you Control Shift, you'll see that this menu changes to this one, and by default it's a US select brush, but you could always switch to brushes like knife or slice. So let's try slice. So that's kind of like manually cutting it. That being said, it might not always give the results that you want, so I would experiment maybe with a knife curve then. You see it creates like separate polys. Could work well for like parallel cut or vertical cut. It gets trickier when you want like custom N-gons. ZBrush does not support them. I think it has to do with originally ZBrush was designed as a 2.5D software, and I think it stayed that way. So in a sense, all we're seeing here are not polygons. I'm not gonna get too deep into it because I'm not knowledgeable enough on the topic, but it functions different from the way that Maya, Blender, and 3ds Max do. Now, what could we do? We go to ZModeler and try the slice mesh, do not crease. I select this poly, and we kind of freehand cut it. It does not support symmetry for some reason. So if I were to mirror and weld, there you go. You get it back. But freehand cutting, I don't think so. You see, you can place it here, but it will automatically connect the next polygon. So it will estimate of like what you want to do with it. Oh, not estimate, more like predict. Okay. Yeah, I don't think ZBrush supports N-gons to this point. Maybe in the future, we'll see. Also, I think staying in single-sided geometry mode helps you... What's the word I'm looking for? Helps you spot the double-sided or the flipped polygons easier and faster. Okay, done with this part. Let's move on. This will be super easy. Now, what's the fastest way of doing it? No. I'll switch to this one. Awesome, thank you. All good. Now, slice is terrible for low poly cutting. Yep, in short, ZBrush can't handle N-gons. Tries are much faster to calculate, but well, poly modeling N-gons are very useful. Maybe as a temporary mesh? I'm not sure. I don't do a lot of hard surface. I do a lot of organic character retopologizing. I never leave N-gons. I always make them either quads or triangles. So perhaps for CAD modeling or anything like that, it might be fine. But in my pipeline, I never use N-gons. People who sculpt in Maya are enemies. People sculpt in Maya? Do you mean like polymodeling? Because I know people who polymodel. That's fine. It's like using ZModeler. By the way, when you're dragging out, this is not the best, but let's say I'm dragging out here and I want to have a triangle straight away. I just let go of Alt and it creates a triangle. Right? So when you know in advance that you're gonna need like a diagonal split there, you can do that. But it only works when you're dragging out the point. So if I just drag it out and I leave it, nothing happens. If I let go of Alt, places triangle. Okay, 'Cause I know people who polymodel. That's fine. People sculpt in Maya are enemies. People sculpt in Maya? Do you mean like polymodeling? Because I know people who polymodel. Not fine. It's like using ZModeler. Let's adjust it. Hello, I'm welcome. Okay, at this point, let's collapse these. I think this is fine. I don't want to have a triangle there.
I don't know what y'all think, but
So I
think that's pretty.
keep my alt until the end instead of letting go. Now I want to split it. I'll do it in a second. I think at this point I'll switch the material to something more reflective. Maybe with like harsher shadows. Might be a bit harder for you guys to see. So I can adjust the material. Do a quick demo of how you could fine-tune the material to your needs. So let's go to modifiers and like increase ambient a bit, which will sort of make material brighter. So it was at 8 originally, I'll set it to 7. And also play around with the diffuse, but don't overdo it. I think this is good enough. Oh, now when it's set to transparent mode, it's still reflecting quite a lot of light, and it's not as dark as the default one. Okay. There you go. We don't need this edge here, so I'm just gonna collapse it. Set it somewhere down here. Mirror not. Water break, don't forget to drink water. I don't know, I saw a sculpting tab somewhere in its UI. Oh, Maya sculpting tool have been around for a while. Doesn't mean anyone uses them. I haven't personally met anyone who seriously sculpts in Maya. You can relax some polygons when you're retopologizing with the sculpting tab. But that's about it. Guess you could adjust some proportions in Maya with the move brush, but I wouldn't call it sculpting. Also, some people have asked me, Layla, how do you get rid of the orange outline? If it's annoying you, you can always duplicate the mesh, and now it's gotten rid of it. It doesn't have it. This orange line does not affect your mesh in any sort of way, except for aiding you in finding it in the subtool menu. That's it. So we're gonna delete this one. But if it does annoy you and you end up with a bunch of retopologized meshes and you're annoyed, just duplicate them and we'll get rid of outline. Save. CAD models don't use polygons at all, except Rhino. It has hybrid tech of converting NURBS to subdivisions and back. Again, I don't do CAD, so I just assumed. N-gons and character modeling or Retopology are heavily discouraged, so I don't use them. So ZBrush not supporting them, it's not a huge deal for me, even though I have used them temporarily in the past to like add cuts, just like you said. But there are workarounds for those. Yeah, there will be a lot of hard edge setting by the time I'm done this model. But I don't mind. Also can't wait for ZBrush to release its new UV tools. Not sure when, but I think they're coming this year. I'll leave it there, and I'm just gonna quickly slice. There you go. Also, if you don't want to remember the BZM being brush, Z modeler brush, or BRE being Retopo brush, you could always Control-Alt-Click on this brush, the Retopo brush, and set a hotkey to it. So you can set it to 1 on your keyboard and then Z modeler to 2, and you can keep on switching between them, whatever works for you. Maybe I'll do that after the stream.
I had a dream last night. When I woke up, I remembered it, but just a moment ago, it's gone.
Slice from here to here. Delete a poly, delete a poly. Undo that. Oh, look at it. If you don't want to see the colors, by the way, you can always turn off fill. And here is your topology mesh clean. I think I'll collapse these by the time I'm done. Like after I'm done with the whole piece, I'll collapse some of these, just from looking at it from another screen. There are a few too many. These can collapse, they don't really do much. But yeah, again, this is my first pass. So I'll just keep going for now. And I'll turn the fill back on, which I think can also be set to hotkey, potentially. A lot of things can be modified in ZBrush, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm not gonna go full on this gap, that would be just ridiculous. It will be baked all right, so I won't do that manually. Drag and drop this. This poly, yeah, it's gonna be a bit tricky. Aaron Welt, Topo. Here we go. About here. I might just merge these. And this is where I would set the snap threshold somewhere lower, because it's annoying me that I can't move the point exactly where I want it to be. Okay, good. There you go. Morning from China. Hello, Alex Chan. Welcome. Yeah, that's about all I use my sculpting tools for. Occasionally moving something. Yeah, same. Orange door hinge. What do you mean? Hey, how's it going? Hey, Tikikashi, welcome. Nice to see you here. What about isolations? When you have overlapping elements, can you quickly isolate high parts of the high poly and retopo meshes? I don't see why not. I mean, a nice thing about this retopo, you see how many high polys I have? They're not joined together. They're all separate, but the retopology is snapping to all of them. So if I were to disable this one, or only enable that one, I can focus on that. So I can hide a lot of things and they won't be in the way. Same goes for hiding a part of the geo, I think. Cancel. There you go. I think if I... Ooh, no. If I were to select rectangular brush and just isolate this part. Yeah, I don't think it would snap to anything because nothing exists there. But this does, so this works. I might have found a weird bug. Okay, just clicking on the mesh clears it. But yeah, there you go. But yeah, by default, Retopo brush will snap to anything that you left visible in your scene, which for me is this front panel of her dress. Also, I think I cleared Zelda so no one can see what I'm working on. Let me quickly... What's the easiest way to do it? One sec. I don't have a screenshot, I don't think. Okay. Amazes me how we use the same few keys with a trillion different combinations, right? I'm amazed that my brain can still remember all the combinations. When I switch from Unreal to ZBrush or from Maya to ZBrush, I still remember. Or I don't remember, but my hands do. So when people ask me, how did you do that? I need to sit down and do it to tell them what I pressed. That fascinates me. Might not be the best way to cut it. Interesting. I'll just merge these. Click here, click here. No. Yes. Like so. So I guess I could click from here and tell it to here, click here. No, it doesn't want to. Tricky, this one. There you go. Almost crashed. No! Hi, I have a question. Why we must retopologize when hard surface not for animate? If you're not gonna animate it, you're gonna 3D print it, for instance, then you don't need it. But if you're gonna use it in the game or in animation or anything that needs to be production ready, then you have to. You have to because you need to optimize the mesh, because you're gonna have thousands of characters in the game sometimes. Well, it's exaggerating, but there'll be main heroes, side characters, and then there'll be NPCs, and their number can reach thousands. Plus all the forests, all the buildings, all the props. That's a lot of memory. I already have, how many? 613 points, which I'm not sure how many polygons that is. But imagine if it was 28 million points. It would be megabytes of data for just one character. And when you download a game, even if it's like AAA nowadays, what is it, like 100 gigs? Maybe 60 gigs? And that's all of it combined. It's not even including all the textures, which are one of the heaviest things in the game. So you need to optimize that when a consumer is buying a game, or a player is buying a game, it's actually gonna run on their PC. That's for animation or games. For animation, it's just needed for the riggers and the animators to work with it, and then for it to render. A bit more relaxed in the animation pipeline. You can get away with more polys, more textures, more shaders, but still within reason. Well, that makes sense. But if you're working on a piece for 3D printing, there are different rules that apply. You don't need to retopologize, but you need to make the mesh watertight, I believe. Again, not a professional here. Just a bit of knowledge that I have. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, please leave them in the chat. If not, I might go quiet sometimes. I might tell weird stories sometimes. We'll see how it goes. Okay. My goal for today is to finish this piece because I'm already done with the earrings, the hair, the eyebrows. What else? Something else. Ah, the little locks that she has in front that are gonna be animated. I wanted them to have a bit of a dangle. Yeah, again, we're gonna split it here. Also, triangles are your friends. I cannot believe how much misinformation there is online about triangles to this day. Triangles are needed for retopology in games. Even in animation pipelines, sometimes triangles are okay when they're hidden and not like straight like on the cheek of the character and they're not gonna give you any artifacts. They're fine. But a lot of people still believe that they are evil. I saw a reel of Jared Chavez, an amazing creature character artist, and he posted his Retopology pipeline. I think he was using Maya. And oh my god, the comments were like, but triangles, you can't put triangles. Who told you that? We'll see how this shades. It might not shade very well. Might change that. We'll see. Maybe I'll change it now. I'll need to see it shaded, and by default ZBrush has everything set to hard edges. Not sure if there's a way to disable it. I don't think so. Also, to change between colored view and non-colored view without like wireframes, just Shift F on your keyboard. There are many reasons why you might need proper topology, but games usually don't need super clean topo, like hard surface sub-D models. Yeah, so hard surface that's not gonna get animated in the sense that it's not gonna have soft deformations, hard deformations. Yes, it does need a very clean retopo, that's right. Oftentimes it will get automatic retopology, but for pieces like these, you need to spend the time. Hey, is this brush only usable on newest version of ZBrush, or can it be used in 2022 version? No, unfortunately, it's only available in 2026 version. It's a new feature of ZBrush. And it's not backwards compatible, so you won't be able to load it into 2022. It is also out on iPad, so if you have the latest version of ZBrush for iPad, you can retopologize while sitting on your couch. Just pretty neat. which I might do after the stream. I might send this model to excuse me, to my iPad and see how different they are. I'm sure the functionality is still the same. Maybe some, well, obviously the UI elements will be in a different place, but it should still stay the same. Oh yeah, that thing. So there are these lines that you can drop down when you hold down Alt. I did not have a lot of luck with them last stream, but basically yeah, I'll try to. Whoa. Yep. If you click with Alt and drag to the left or the right, you'll see how it drops down more points. And when you drag out the second one, it will match the number of points exactly. And here is the third one. And you can press and confirm it and mirror and weld it. However, it gives me a bit of an error here because I didn't place them very nicely. So I might just do that. There you go. Press on them. And now you can drop another edge if you want. So that's nice for covering areas that are large and flat and easy for ZBrush or any Retopology tool to understand, really. There are similar functions like these in other software, but I'm really happy that ZBrush introduced this one here as well. It's a huge time saver for, again, flat, uncomplicated areas like these, like this one. Why not N-gon for simple and fast build? N-gons most of the time will give you shading artifacts, and are just not preferable for some real-time engines and offline engines as well, in my experience. I'm sure they have a use somewhere, but not in my pipeline, not for organic surfaces like these. The quad police. ZBrush doesn't understand N-gons. Yes. It's shouting out VDM IMM asset creation. Looks neat. Which one? Ah, you mean these ones? Or that I could have VDM'd everything? Maybe. Oh, I see. That means N-gon does not support for cross application. Not for everything, yes. Oof. N-gons are supported in Exchange formats like OBJ-FBX, but ZBrush can't read it. It can't create them. It can import-export them. It can't import-export, yes. If you import OBJ with N-gons into ZBrush, it will auto-triangulate. That's correct. Yeah, these ones. I did not use VDMs or IMMs, and for now we're just doing Retopo. Do you mean the raised bits? No, they were wholly modeled in ZModeler because I wanted to get better at it. Just meme. Oh. Not sure if I've shown you guys. Huh, this is a weird artifact. But if you ever wanted to, let's drop down an edge here, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, this is a very dense area, I want to clean it up. Alt dragging, like crossing out the edge will delete it. If you want to do it vertically, you delete this way. And also alt clicking on the poly will also delete it. There's a lot of also in that sentence. Might be just too excited to show you all the functions of the new Retopologizing, so I blame it on that. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want to expand your area of work, like your canvas size, or canvas area should I say, just tab on your keyboard. Can be very helpful sometimes when you need to stay within the same brush for long periods of time. That's all you gotta do. Okay, let's save. Yeah, just mean that workflow and the raised bits with the Z modeler are looking good for being translated out into IMM PDM brushes. Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, they could be used if, let's say if I worked for Nintendo and there were many characters that shared Zelda's outfit, or even those, I think they're called constructs in Tears of the Kingdom, and they all share the same patterns. I could save out all of these as IMM/VDM brushes for sure. And then share it with my team who are also working on, models for the game, and we want to keep the look consistent, then yeah, for sure. That'd be probably a responsibility of either a senior artist or a lead, or a technical character artist, maybe. Okay. Do I want to individually retopo this one? That's the question. Maybe. So let's switch to the modeler again. Select this point. Select this point. Come on. There you go. Did what I needed it to do. Let's return to Retopo. And now, it might be a bit hard for you guys to see, but here it is. And yeah, to clear out any points, as I mentioned previously, Control drag on the canvas, similarly to how you would do a Dynamesh. Okay, keep going. I'll turn the color back on. I've heard that Australian beaches are closed 3 days because of sharks. Well, Brisbane, where I live, does not have access to the beach, so I wouldn't know. But yes, that has happened before. Usually it's not all beaches are closed. That would be a particular city's like shoreline would be closed, maybe. So maybe a few beaches in a row where that happened. I don't know if it's all the beaches in the whole Australia, because we have many points of access to the sea. But I don't have a car at the moment. I just bought a bike the other day, so I can cycle to work. Exciting. But I can't cycle to the beach. That would be too long. Maybe a couple of hours. Good morning. Hello, Rain Lido. Welcome to the stream. Gonna watch me power through this piece of Retopo. Mirror and weld. We're halfway there. I'm not gonna retopo these in, so I might as well just turn them off for now. Good baby. Yeah, all the way down. Yep. So I'll turn them off for now, but all of this, yeah, for sure, can do that. And I think these triangles will just be baked onto a plane as well. So we'll do something like this. Oh, it's freaking out. Come on, you can do it. Come on. That's it. That there in the end. Cool. Now we'll also stretch them out so they cover the entirety of the high poly. But I reckon I'll do that manually in ZModeler. Huh. Go. That's nicer. Okay, by holding down, okay, so first it goes space click, and then hold down Control. No. Oh, you just let go of spacebar, okay. So spacebar click, then let go of spacebar, and you can control how many edge loops you can add. Neat. For now, I just need one. That's where my confusion begins, because I'm used to Maya's, I think, Alt drop down the edge loop, and here it's space. So that's that. Let's increase the size and maybe smooth out this area slightly. Yeah, that's good. Now here we can just move them. and adjust them. That's about the poly density we need. I don't see why I would need more than that. Also, it's up for the debate if I'm gonna make it double-sided or not. We'll see. Good morning. It's okay if we have tries on Retopology on standard company? What do you mean standard company? I'm posing the character right now. Wish me luck. Good luck. What are you using? No. Nice. Struggle to click on it. Okay. What do you mean? Slice? Now it doesn't work. First point, second point. First point, second point. Being difficult for no reason. Okay. Slice mesh as well. There you go. Okay. Mirror and weld. Retopo. Let's go. You tried kangaroo steak. I didn't even think it was a thing a while back. I'm vegetarian, I don't eat meat, and even if I did, I wouldn't eat a kangaroo. My honey just walked in, gotta go. Okay, have a nice day. Do you have experience in my retopologizing? Yeah, I guess in Maya it would be a lot faster. Draw top layer, topo pattern, select borders, extrude down to get all sides, fill gaps between elements, all done. Sure. Yeah, I could also just fill in the gaps here and go Z modeler, select the closest edge, extrude, mesh border, and voila. Well, it's snapping there, but if I disable the snapping, I can extrude the border. So I could have done that, that's true, but I don't know. All of these parts are different thicknesses, so I would need to manually go in, select each border loop, and adjust it. So had I modeled it in mind that I want to retopologize it in Maya, and had I kept everything the same distance from the panel, but the panel is also not perfect, it's curved. So it's a lot of pre-planning, and I would still need to do a lot of manual work. So, I don't know, potato at this point. No. What is going on here? There is an odd polygon here. Okay. And yes, I used to retopologize in Maya exclusively, but ever since ZBrush came out with its new Retopo tool, which is, what, a month ago? A bit more than a month? I've been trying to switch to this approach, because that would save me a bit of hassle with keeping all the low polys and high polys in the same place. Plus, why not? I stopped polymodeling in Maya about 3 years ago. I do everything I need in ZBrush with ZModeler. I've made many hard surfaces here as well, like guns for characters. I could load one in. You give me a second. It's not done. It's still in progress, but that was for character Layla. I know, same name as me. She's in here as well. And then there was another one for... Who did I model before? Bup. There was one for... That was Zeri. Here we go. Again, I think I might have it somewhere in a more finished form. There you go. It looks like, oh, ArtStation. Cancel. I shouldn't be doing it on stream, but basically I can just send you the link, or you guys can click on the link in my in the description of the video to see my portfolio, and there are a couple of projects with hard surface shields and guns, and they were pretty much all modeled inside ZBrush. Okay, back to it. Using ZBrush for posing for the first time, but now I'm uncovering things that I didn't know before. Yeah, it's got a lot of hidden secrets. That's why I'm here, to show you all of my secrets that I know of. Still lots to learn too, though. Hello, where is this Retopology brush from? It's built into ZBrush 2026. It's not a custom one, it's a ZBrush one. Tuning in a bit late, that's okay. We still have about maybe half an hour to go. Depends on how much we get done. If I get close to finishing it, maybe we'll stay for another hour. I'm new to ZBrush. Does this Retopology have the thickness as the original model? Not yet, it doesn't have thickness, but it doesn't mean you cannot add it. So if we hold down Alt and extrude and then let go of Alt and click it again, we can add the side polys and then we can continue on and add thickness on the other side. Obviously the other side would not disregard this clipping mesh. I would fix it right now by pushing it in. It shouldn't be in here. And same here, it shouldn't be there at all. So this side could easily be turned into retopologized mesh as well. You just need to do it. Many ways to do that. Another way I showed was dropping down these lines, right? There you go. Click to confirm. They're kinda there. Mirror and weld. Anything going on here? I'm not sure about. But yeah, we're not gonna do it now, but that's the same way I did this part. You can rewind maybe half an hour and you'll see. But for now, we need to retopologize all of these detailed things, and then I'll decide on whether I want to have double-sided geo or not. I wonder if Zelda has in the actual game. I might boot up my Switch after the stream and go see. So again, this area, I'm not gonna go crazy and get into all of those crevices. There's no point, it will bake just fine. So it's these sort of decisions you need to make when you retopologize, how much detail you're actually putting into your low poly. At this point, I might have put too much detail so far. Again, fix this. Mirror and weld. Are there any games that you guys are excited about that are coming out this year? I know I do. Also, I'm keeping the middle symmetry line going all the way down. I'm not like making it sway to the side. So when I bake it, or when I get to UVing, I can cut the mesh down the middle, make the UVs for one side and flip the other. That way I'll save space on the UV layout. Okay, thank you. All good. That line drawing trick is nice. Can I draw and connect curved lines? Ooh, I think it adapts to your surface. So if the surface has a natural curve, it will snap to it. However, I'm not sure if you can draw out curved lines. I'll need to research that. But yeah, you just Alt and drag out. Maybe there is. I think you can snap it to make it perfectly straight, holding down Shift. Ooh, that didn't work. Okay. Need to be very careful when making these. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. We're almost there. No. Okay. Again, Z modeler, slice mesh. Doesn't always work from the first attempt. Huh. Interesting. I think it's because it's not symmetrical, maybe. Drags out a poly, but I want slice mesh. There you go. Go. Cycling through Alt options. When you drag out Alt, you can let go and click again and again and again. I only need one poly. That's why I select this option. Hey, what's going on here? I think I'll keep it there. A slice again. I reckon slice from here to here. Topo. And drag it out and connect it. Then mirror, mirror and weld. You don't need to do it as often as I do. It just gives me a peace of mind, I think. It's kind of like saving for me. And on that topic, I'm gonna save as well. Hola, hello. Okay, you guys are quiet. Water break. We've been going for about 2 hours now, but we're very close, so I'll try to finish it. Before I do that, let me quickly check that there's no one lined up after me, because I wouldn't want to overstay my welcome. Okay, looks like next one is George Zaki, and he's on from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I'm not sure if it's today or not. Let me quickly check. Hello. 1 second, guys. I'll be back. No, it says he's live in 18 hours 58 minutes. And if you'd like to check who's lined up after me, I'm gonna send a link to the chat right now. You can always see when my next stream is on, when someone else's stream is on. So next one is George, and he's got amazing blocking out knowledge. Cool. I can keep going. Also, if you guys are new here on my streams, I also have a Discord community. Links are in the description, where I give feedback. We hang out every other week when I don't stream here. Same time, different place. We gather in the Discord voice chat and we talk. And I can give feedback if you guys need feedback. And we just yap about games, about life, movies, deep personal stuff too. Just kidding. If you don't want to, you don't have to. We do go on like different tangents sometimes that are not related to 3D, but I think that's the fun of it as well. I see. If something's not dragging out, chances are you have an invisible poly there, so set your visibility to double. If you don't have this here, because it's my not custom, but customly placed menu icon, you can go to display properties and here it is. And when you customize your UI, you can drag it out wherever you want. I have it there for ease of access. But I should also probably bring out other things like mirror and weld. I have it set to a custom menu, and the custom menu responds to the top button on my stylus. So when I press it, I get this, and I have mirror and weld. I have a feeling that for this workflow to be smoother, I could also go to preferences, configuration, enable customize, and now we go to geometry, modify topology. Here is our mirror and weld. I can just Alt and drag it somewhere where I want it to be, say here. And the other mirror one is in deformation, and here's mirror. They do slightly different things, but I use both of them. So by the time, when you're done, you can go here and disable customize, and it'll stay here. Remember to save your UI, I think, and store configuration file, both, before you leave ZBrush, otherwise it will reset back to normal. And if you want a custom menu like I have here, there's a really nice tutorial by Michael Pavlovich on how to create your own custom menu. You can call it whatever you want. I was extremely creative that day and I named it after myself. But you can do whatever you want. Yeah, George is cool. He tried Retopology too a few streams ago and it was crashing ZBrush nonstop. My previous stream was also crashing quite a lot. It was 2 weeks ago. We got 3 or 4 crashes in a span of 3 hours. So about like a crash every hour, which isn't too bad, but still, This time around, look at me. 2 hours and 2 minutes in, 0 crashes so far. She says and saves immediately, because she knows that ZBrush can be vicious sometimes. Here's me just optimizing the topology tiny bit. I don't like how it connects here, so I might just delete a couple of polys and connect it this way. Just the sort of things you change along the way. It's very normal. Now mirror and weld. Maybe that's better. Again, I don't really like how many triangles we have in this area. So perhaps this is cleaner. There you go. Oh no. There you go. Mirror and weld. All good, all good. Also, let's disable double so we can see when something's not working or creating double faces straight away. Or inverted faces, should I say. Okay. Don't know if I need... might as well. I've been retopologizing all those little bits as well. What we could do, we could set it to a different... No. We switch to ZModeler, we set it to a different polygroup, and now inset polygroup. And in the settings, instead of having equidistant, switch it to standard. It gives you cleaner results. Oh, why is it grabbing all of that too? Ah, not polyloop, sorry, polygroup. There you go. So now we add this. It's gonna make sense in a second. Okay. There you go. Delete the slower ones, clear canvas, and to me, this was easier than like pushing and pulling vertices. But yeah, it's up to you. I do like using Retopology brush in combination with ZModeler because I feel like it gives you the most freedom in terms of what actions you want to perform. And I just reset the whole thing to have one polygroup by clicking Ctrl W. Not sure what happened there. I might have misclicked something. Ooh, interesting. Cool. Mirror and weld. Not sure if we need this whole poly loop. We might not. I'll try and do this. That might be cheaper this way. And now we'll slice this polygon. And voila, mirror, mirror and weld. All good. We'll see how it shades later and make a decision from there. For now, it's fine. There you go. One annoying thing with custom menus is that you can't load them individually. It saves whole UI as one piece. Well, they'll just add up here, right? And then you can assign them. I never ever open it through here. I always open it through custom click, right? So perhaps you have like 2 buttons here. You could map them differently. Can you not? Because I was sure you could have more than one custom menu in your UI. Let's save. So, on the topic of games coming out this year, I am really excited for the Witcher 3 DLC. And if you are not or have not been following the news, it has been confirmed that Witcher 3 is getting another DLC this year after 11 years of nothing. Well, technically the DLC for Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone came out in 2016, if I remember correctly. 15 or 16, so that's about 10 years ago. So an 11-year-old game is getting a DLC. I've never heard of it happening before, but I'm a huge, huge Witcher fan. So I'm beyond excited. I think they're gonna try to tie Witcher 3 with the release of Witcher 4, which should come in the next 3 years or so. maybe like 2028, 29. Yeah, can't wait to play that. Not sure if I have any other games I'm looking forward to. New Life is Strange game is coming out. That might be interesting. I was a fan of the first two. Maybe I'll play this one. CD Projekt Red is working hard. They made pretty big DLC for Cyberpunk not so long ago. Yeah, Phantom Liberty. I haven't played it myself, but I've heard really good reviews from it. This DLC, however, is not handled by CD Projekt Red directly. It's by a different studio. What was it called? Fool's Theory? I might be wrong. But there are a lot of ex-CD Projekt employees working there. So the game is in good hands, from what I've heard again. We'll see. But it has to be good, right? The whole strategy is to hype up the release of Witcher 4 in the next couple of years. So this DLC has to be good. There is no other option. And I wonder if we'll get to play as Ciri again. Because Witcher's Geralt's story is very much done. He's settled in Tucson, in my game with Yennefer, which is the only way it should be played in my opinion. Don't come at me if you haven't read the books. All the people who are Team Triss. But yeah, excited to see what's coming. Okay, this piece will be easy. This is a bit trickier, but we've done this before up here. So let's just keep on pushing. Almost there with this piece, which is one of the trickiest part of her whole outfit. The other one would be her shoes. Let me save. I'll just load another Zelda here. Load. Yep, she's naked. There she is. I'll put her to the side and a bit more. And continue working on this one. I guess Witcher series will be a hit anyway, even after Netflix effed up TV series, one of the biggest games in 10 years. Still is #1 for me. It is hard to beat. One of the games that I keep on coming back to year and year again. I've played it maybe 3 times fully. Just a really good story, good world building, game design, many things were done very well. The attention to detail is crazy. Don't even get me started on how you can do all the quests backwards. You can run and go to Novigrad straight away, get your ass beat, but you can play the game in so many different ways, and the developers accounted for that. And I am yet to see a similar case in any other game. How are we gonna resolve this? Split it like this. Move the point. Like so. No. Doesn't want to work. That's okay. Let's place some points. There you go. That worked better. Drag it out, drag it out. Awesome. That works. Interesting. No. Delete the poly. Better. I think we can simplify this area. Yeah, that's fine. Have any of you guys played the game Infamous Second Son? I remember really liking it when it came out. I played it on PlayStation 4 that my brother and I saved up for and bought it used from like a marketplace. Like the movement of the character was so fluid from what I can remember. Even though the story was interesting, there were some giant plot holes in it, I still remember enjoying it a lot. It was around 2015 when I played it. And I remember my English wasn't that great back then, so I kept on mispronouncing the title. I think I was saying infamous. But it didn't stop me from enjoying the game. Huge Infamous fan, one of my favorite childhood games. I never played the previous ones. I have watched video essays on like the lore and the world building. Are they good to this day to like play? Do they hold up? I know it's a tricky question. Did you check Plague Tale? Pretty cool art style and story too. Okay. So, a little fact about myself. I have a little brother that I love dearly. He's 5 years younger than me. And about 2 years ago when I played Plague's Tale, and then got spoiled the second part, the game broke me. I loved it so much, the first part. I could not play the second one. If we're talking about the same game, right? Plague's Tale, Requiem, and Innocence. Yeah, so I played Innocence. Loved it. Wanted to play the second one. I'm sorry if it's a spoiler for someone. I could not play the second one. Got so emotional. Got so invested. Maybe one day I will. But this is the level of storytelling I enjoy so much, and I strive to work with people who create games with very strong storytelling. I don't have a goal in mind when people ask me what company you work to work for. I mean CD Projekt Red, I guess, because I get I'm so attached to Witcher 3 and its storytelling, but also any company, any team really, that is interested in telling cool stories, emotional stories, impactful stories. And it can be any studio, really. look at Clear Obscure 33, Expedition 33. Nobody knew about them. But after last year, everybody talks about them, right? And the story was phenomenal. So anyway, that's my little rant. Do you guys have any games that made you feel things? I think I'll try to extrude it like this. Now we're gonna collapse a bunch of them. We don't need this many polys. Interesting, my music stopped playing and I never noticed. Sorry guys. I'm trying to reboot it. The website just froze and stopped playing. So for this section, I could try it and extrude it down and then just fill it in. Maybe we'll try to do that. And we don't need this many polygons. Okay. Didn't work as well as I would have hoped. That's okay. It is a tricky spot. Could also do it with ZModeler, which I will use about now. So if we hover over an edge and instead of slice, we'll do close, convex hole. And this is what you get. I think that's good enough. Now we just need to connect the two in a smart way. So I'll try to get rid of as many polygons as possible. Also, I need to turn on symmetry. There you go. I recently tried that Genshin thing to test my new smartphone. Gosh, it makes me feel hatred for all gacha games. Who even invented this? Why? Are you addicted? Is that why you're upset? It seems to me that Retopology in Blender is much faster in it. I've never tried Retopologizing in Blender. And this is just my speed. Maybe you can go faster, I don't know. Let's try to collapse these. Go, we don't need that, we don't need that. It's easier to see it in white now. See what we're doing. Voila, we connected them. Now, is it perfect? No. Can we make it better? Yes. Is there a dip here that I can't see? No. Okay. Interesting. For some reason it's dipping. Oh well. Now let's collapse some of these. What else can we collapse? Maybe these. I'll see how it's gonna shade in Maya with the soft edges, and then I'll make a decision on whether I want to collapse this many edge loops. I definitely could collapse these. Yeah, it's a matter of a bit of trial and error. I feel the same even though I work mainly in Max. Polymodeling packages will always be faster in their field. Okay. I love Max too, specifically Corona, V-Ray. Okay. In my personal opinion, offline renders are gonna become redundant in the future. I am myself a V-Ray fan, but the hours that you have to put in rendering, just that online renders are becoming better and better at, well, rendering stuff, like rendering materials that are more complex, like water, anything refractive. That's my personal opinion anyway, don't come at me with torches. Okay, so that would be the front side of it. Pretty happy with the result. And yes, I do the same thing in any other software that I've ever retopologized in. I do a thing, I undo a thing, I see if I like it or not. So it's not just me being undecisive in ZBrush, it's me being indecisive in life. Look at it. Again, I can see a lot of opportunities for collapsing in here, but I did decide to go with the route of retopoing all of these things. I might change my mind, who knows, who knows. But yeah, 1204 vertices. I don't think there's a way to see how many polys that is in ZBrush. Perhaps there's a plugin for that. But yeah. I would like to know V-Ray one day, but now I'm training dynamic poses, so I haven't got enough time. I see. I see. So yeah, this is the result. I'll do the back side of it if I decide to do so off stream. There's nothing interesting about it. I'll probably use that tool that lets you drag out lines with points and connecting them automatically. That was nice. It worked nicely on a flat, simple surface. Yeah. That's fine, we'll deal with building complex property topologies, melting. Yeah, I also feel a bit self-conscious when I'm on stream, which, well, I don't know if can be avoided. Maybe with time. But yeah. Can see room for improvement, but also happy with the result. Can collapse it there. There. like assembling a puzzle. If you like solving puzzles, you'll like Retopology. Might be pushing it too much. Awesome. What should be considered when adding triangles? Are they used because the topology is constrained or to support a certain edge flow? Are triangles something that should be avoided? Again, triangles are not something that should be avoided. They are necessary to construct a nice low polygon mesh for baking. That being said, your main flow should be quads, and then triangles are used to collapse some parts of the mesh to make it lighter. They should not be used as building blocks, more like fill in the gaps blocks. So this is not the cleanest topology ever, but you can still read that there's verticality to it, so there are like lines that go all the way down, and at some point they become like very sparse. But there's still a flow, and there's also a flow that goes horizontally. So when this mesh bends, let's grab it there to see how well it will deform. So when it bends this way and that way, you can still see that there is enough topology that doesn't go like a wave, more like a straight line and straight line. It supports the deformation. Maybe bring it lower. So you see, all of these, when I move them to the side, they're gonna stretch out, and these are gonna compress. And it's the same thing that should be used on anything that is gonna get deformed by the rig. So her waist, for instance, will be very simple. It will be just quads going down. I'll keep it as clean as possible. This one does not need to bend as much. It depends on how I'm gonna rig it. But perhaps I would maybe add some dynamics to this part and let it like flap a bit at the bottom and make it more constrained with the body, follow the body's movements closer it gets to the torso area and the chest area. But yeah, definitely went a bit overboard here. I'll clean it up. But overall, pretty happy. And also, you should try to keep the density of the topology the same. That's why I'm saying that this is a bit too dense and too wide and big in here. So I'll try to fix that off stream, because for now I need a break, my eyes need a break, and I need to step away from the computer for an hour and then come back and I'll see a solution that is staring me in the face, but I can't see it. It depends. In this case, she can build it all in triangles only. If you need its subdivision ready or preserve certain UV loops or animation joints, that is a different story. Yeah. Well, this is still gonna work with animation joints. However, obviously, if I were to build it all out of these blocks, which I could, and it would take me 10 minutes, even less, it would deform perfectly, but I would lose the silhouette. I wanted to show you guys how detailed you can go, That being said, I might do a test, bake it, and see if I like it that much. If not, I can just come back and get rid of, let's say, this section and just fill it out with polygons like these. Maybe leave the most detailed part on the chest, you know? And everything else can be baked. That's totally fine. And then games that are, let's say, tailored for mobile, I would not be allowed to do this at all. They would tell me, if I had like a technical lead, they would tell me, okay, we're doing everything out of these polygons and we're saving the poly count because mobile devices aren't as strong as PCs or consoles, obviously. So yeah, it depends. I hope that answers the question. I could also quickly go and show you how I would do the other approach. Let's get rid of that. Delete. Don't worry, I have a copy under there. I would just hide everything in my scene that's giving me any relief. I don't know how to pronounce it. Any silhouette that isn't flat, I would get rid of it. So I only need to leave that part. Go into my Retopology brush, Alt drag, click Alt again. There you go. How many do I have here? I have 4. This one has 3, 4, 8. So I just need to collapse a couple. Perhaps something like this would work, even though it's a bit messy. 3. So it's 4 and 6. I could also accommodate a little bit and place... Come on. Place 2 more supporting ones here. Oh no. Okay. Go back. Okay. They evenly spaced out. More or less. Now what I could do, hold down Alt and try to bring it all the way up. Now hold down space, let go of spacebar and drop, let's say this many is good. And now just connect these. And that took me, I don't know, 2 minutes. And that top part would have taken me, I don't know, 15. So that would be the cheapest version of this part. Probably the most preferred by the riggers. And it would bend nicely any way you want. It's easier to extrude the back side as well. And also when you match the polygons on the front and the back of the mesh when it's two-sided geometry, it's way easier for the riggers to do weight painting, so it will deform very nicely. So 2 different approaches really. This is just me going all out. I'll see what I like. I might use this one. Yep, to be fair, for game engine, baking it onto plane with normals would be the best way, but you would have troubles with high poly here. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely easier to handle for the engine and the rigger. This is me going all out and seeing, maybe like testing. Maybe I like the look of it more because if we look at it from side view, it's got more definition. This one's got none, but how much of it are you gonna really see? Again, I'm here to show you guys the whole functionality of Retopology brush and new features in ZBrush, so might as well do all that. Let's turn on everything I've retopoed so far to see how well they look next to each other. If you wanted to preview everything with the wireframe on, you could turn it on and then let's set this to 0 and render. There you go. You can see everything together. I forgot to turn off these. Okay. There you go. As you can see, pretty good density across all of them. Happy with that. I would try to stick to this density for the rest of the mesh as well. Another thing I would do, I would select these edges, mask them, go in front and do this, which is straightening them out. Just a nice thing to do, makes your portfolio piece or like a final game asset much cleaner, nicer to work with. You just go through all of them. Again, you mask, you invert by control clicking on the canvas. You click W to bring your gizmo. Control clicking on this like navigation symbol will reset the gizmo to the center of the selection. And control dragging down. Sorry. I've forgotten how to do it. Interesting. How was I doing it? Weirdly, it's going all the way to the bottom. But that's not what I wanted to do. Ah, there you go, Shift. Instead of holding down Control, you hold down Shift. And it straightens it out. Similar to how Maya has snapping all the vertices to the grid, or even just taking the scale tool and scaling it down, holding down Shift does the same thing. There you go. Cool. And that's how you retopologize in ZBrush. Thank you for your very helpful explanations. It's extremely useful for beginners. You're welcome. Let's look at the other meshes, what I've done with the hair. So again, you can see the flow. It's still going horizontal in case if we wanted to add some sort of controller, even though this hair is very short for any bones in the hair really. But you could, if you wanted to, do this, you know, maybe a bit of a sway from side to side when she's running, or maybe something like this, you know, because it's a cartoon character, you can exaggerate it quite a bit. Or the opposite, maybe like this when she's running. Same here. They can sway from side to side. You can also exaggerate it with squash and stretch. And this is just a simple, she has a pendant that looks like this. And this is the Retopoled mesh. Sorry, there you go. All of those fine details here will get baked. All of those fine details on this piece will also get baked. If I want to go with this route, I can also try it with this one again. UVs will take me another 15 minutes per piece. Well, 15 minutes for this one, maybe. And 5 minutes, 2 minutes for this one. So it's not that scary to redo any of the work. I think I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it as well to wrap up the stream. It is a nice practice, and this is not a final topology. I will need to transfer the topology that I need onto this mesh, but it's a nice practice to match the number of loops on the eyebrows to the exact number of loops and even position on the forehead if you're doing it with this method, which some studios will prefer. Again, we're talking about stylization. Oftentimes you can just bake it on. Some riggers prefer to have it separate, so you'll need to talk to your technical lead or rigger to find that out. That's why when there are discussions online about what the right topology is, there isn't one. It will be right for the studio you're working on, for the project you're working on. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me bring Zelda to wave you goodbye. A very cursed wave that will be, but nonetheless. Just quickly disable the nails. Bye-bye. I know, I am so talented at rigging. It's truly impressive. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. All the links are down below if you want to follow me on ArtStation, Discord, or Instagram. I'm Layla, Viscu everywhere. And I hope you have a nice day or night, wherever you are.